and gentlemen, spin. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the video on Buffalo's paramecia. We're talking about the... I'm good. Talking about the Guru no Mi, or the Spin fruit. This is going to require a little bit of reading, but have you all read your edition of Junji Ito's Uzumaki today? Because you kind of need that. You kind of need that for this one, all right? Yeah, Buffalo is a really big Junji Ito fan. All right, so, a couple of months ago when I talked about Sharinguru, anybody still remember Sharinguru? It's okay. I made a video about him, and I don't even really remember the dude. He was the dude back in Enies Lobby. He was a Marine. He has the Devil Fruit that was, like, manga exclusive. It didn't show up in the anime. He showed up in the anime, but, not his Devil Fruit ability. So he had the power of the Shari no Mi, or the Wheel fruit, that allowed him to spin his body. So he, like, had his arms turn into wheels, or like they spun really fast like wheels, and like he attacked Frankie. Okay, so in that video, a lot of people were like, how could you talk about Sharinguru and not mention Buffalo? Well, we're here today with an entire video about Buffalo, and he actually has the upgraded form, I would say. It actually makes me wonder whether or not Oda forgot about Sharinguru, because he's a character that, like, barely shows up. Even in the manga, he's in there for, like, one panel, and it was a long time before the introduction of Buffalo's character at the end of Punk Hazard, right? So that's a good number of years in between both, probably, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years probably in the manga. So it's okay if Oda forgot about Sharinguru and then introduced another Devil Fruit ability with a similar concept, right? Okay, but no, Buffalo's is better. Although I will say, I don't think Buffalo really utilized this fruit as best as he could, all right? He did some cool stuff with it. There's some utility. But anybody that's out there that's read JoJo Part 7, which does not include myself. I've actually only read the first chapter of Steel Ball Run, but I know that there's a power system in JoJo Part 7 called the Spin. That's like Hamon from the original, like, Part 1 of JoJo, but it's like the rebooted universe or whatever. And so I know it's not the rebooted universe at the end of Part 6, like a separate universe. If you've read JoJo, you know what I'm talking about. By the way, did Part 7, I know it was going to be announced soon, whether or not it was getting an anime adaptation. I'm pretty sure it is. I just not up to date on the announcements for that. So if there's an announcement for that and when it's coming out, let me know, because that's really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing it, because like I said, I've never read it. So I know some crazy stuff can be done with spinning and rotational power, all right? You could definitely do some cool stuff. And Buffalo uses it to fly. Okay, and he uses it to, like, blow away a lot of gas, at Punk Hazard, like, to create squalls and, like, gusts. So that's cool, I guess, but yeah, it just feels like there could be more to it. All right, so what is the difference between the Guru no Mi and the Shari no Mi? All right, so first of all, the onomatopoeia is different. So Sharingu is just the word for wheel in Japanese. So Sharinguru's Devil Fruit onomatopoeia is kind of like the sounds of wheels turning or something mixing really fast, something along those lines. When it comes to the Guru no Mi, it is more about rotation, like just spinning or cycling in general. The better way to look at it is Sharinguru is more about wheels, like wheels on a bicycle or wheels on a car, whereas the Guru no Mi is more about anything that's rotating, more of like a fan or a propeller on a helicopter or something like that. Just anything that's spinning really, really, really fast, okay? And so for that reason, Buffalo is able to fly. Once again, going back to Pell's statement way back in the day where he was like, there's only 5 known Devil Fruits that are capable of flight. I'm just going to assume he was talking about regular bird zoans that can do that, because Buffalo can fly as well. So the way he does so is he has a very unique hairstyle, right? He has his hair kind of shaped like a 4-leaf clover, and using the Guru no Mi, he can spin his hair kind of like a propeller, and it can spin really fast. He also has propellers on his wrists and on his ankles, and he can make his whole body spin, and so that way he just, manages to gain lift like a helicopter and can, kind of travel wherever he needs to go. I mean, Baby 5 and him led a, like, commando operation from Dressrosa all the way to Punk Hazard. Now, those two islands are not particularly far from one another. Remember, Doflamingo was able to go from Dressrosa to Punk Hazard as well, running his strings through the clouds. Not very, very far, but still, I mean, any Air Force advantage in One Piece is going to be definitely beneficial, considering they don't have airplanes, they don't have giant blimps, dirigibles. I just finished rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and so, you know, they have the giant Fire Nation dirigibles at the end of that. Yeah, they don't have a lot of air support in One Piece, right? Okay, so Buffalo's ability was a big boon to Doflamingo's operation for sure. Ironically enough, he was one of the first ones taken out when shit really started to hit the fan. Like, right when we got to, like, the climax of Dressrosa, and Doflamingo was like, okay, I guess I have to activate the birdcage now and set up this crazy death game and everything like that. Buffalo was taken out almost immediately by Kiros. And the way that Kiros took him out, originally I thought it was really, really brutal, like when I saw it in the manga. He basically charges right at him, and Kiros grabs Buffalo, puts him in a headlock, and just cracks his neck, just breaks his neck right there, and then tosses him out of like a 5-story building. And at the time, I was like, whoa, that's insane. How is Buffalo not dead from that? But then you remember, well, wait a minute, he literally has a devil fruit that allows him to spin any part of his body at any time, at any number of RPMs. So, you know, breaking his neck, probably not as devastating as you might think. Definitely caught him off guard. You know, Kiros just grabbed him and and threw him out of a window. And we don't see Buffalo for the rest of the arc, so it definitely put him out of commission. But he is not dead. He is still alive. We see him later in chains, and they take him off to impel down along with Senor Pink and all the other officers, as I'm assuming Treble and Diamante and Pika are all also thrown in impel down as well. That is if Diamante, if there's any of the top officers I hope is just straight up dead, it's Diamante. I think Diamante, you know, the final battle between him and Rebecca, Robin was there and Kiros was there, and him falling backwards and conking his, like, the top of his spine off of Scarlet's grave, that was perfect. I just hope he's dead from that. I know he's probably not, but whatever. So, what techniques do we got here from Buffalo? Well, the technique where he turns into a helicopter, that's actually not named. Or I guess a prop plane is probably more similar than rather a helicopter. I guess he could be both. It's not named, but yeah, he could just do that kind of whenever. But he does have two name techniques. One is called Gust Matsaburo. Matsaburo is a character from a particular work by Kenji Miyazawa, and has the ability to manipulate, you know, wind in that way. Also, I think in one of the Mega Man games, one of the enemies you fight in Mega Man, I think it's Mega Man 2, the names of a character that can spit wind at you are named after the same character, Matsaburo, all right? And so when they arrived at Punk Hazard, the Shinokuni gas was covering the entire island, that purple gas, you know, disaster that Caesar created, right? And so as they were approaching, he just used his ability to spin his propellers really, really fast, and then create a giant whirlwind that blew the gas away so they could properly look around and see what's happening without being affected by it, okay? So, you know, pretty powerful wind-based ability. Nothing on the level of something like Dragon could accomplish, or some kind of mythical zone, because, you know, a dragon can control, like, the weather. Buffalo couldn't do anything like that, but a big burst of wind, okay, I mean, that's useful in a lot of respects. And the only other technique we got from him is Toshasho, which is a projectile cannon technique. So him and Baby 5 typically team up because they were friends ever since they were kids. In the Doflamingo family, they were all kind of around the same age, Buffalo, Baby 5, and Law. There were a few other members, like Derringer was like a baby way back in like the Spider Miles days, and so he grew up in the family his entire life, pretty much being raised by Giola. But yeah, Buffalo, Baby 5, and Law were all around the same age, and so they had a lot of combination attacks together, especially Baby 5 and Buffalo, because Law obviously eventually leaves. But yeah, so Baby 5 has the Buki Buki no Mi. Already did a video about that a couple years back. Really badass devil fruit, as even mentioned by Corazon. I remember that one scene when Law and Corazon were talking about his ability, and Law was like, man, devil fruit, your devil fruit kind of sucks, Corazon. It's not like Baby 5's Buki Buki no Mi. And then Corazon even kind of agrees. He's like, hey, come on, man. All right, I'll give it to you, though. That one is pretty badass. The ability to turn into any weapon at all, I mean, that is pretty cool. You gotta admit it. So a couple of different ways the combination attack works. One of them actually was able to pierce the General Frankie, which is pretty cool. You don't see that very often. Frankie knows how to build a robot, damn it. He doesn't build it haphazardly, right? So one way is for Baby 5 to turn into Missile Girl. She turns into a missile, and then Buffalo grabs her and then just spins around really, really fast, get those RPMs going, and just whips the Missile Girl, Baby 5, directly at a target, and then boom, big explosion. And then Baby 5 kind of just reforms. That attack didn't really seem to dent the General Frankie all that much, but one attack that did was that when Baby 5 transformed into a sickle, and then Buffalo grabbed her and then used the same ability up close right next to the General Frankie, spun really fast with this razor-sharp sickle, and then attacked and was able to pierce right through the General Frankie's arm. So that's cool. I think that was like the first time we'd ever seen the General Frankie actually damaged or pierced by an attack. Okay, so yeah, the rotational force there, it's no joke. But that's kind of it. That's all we get from Buffalo. He can fly like a plane, and he can spin really fast and throw things. That's kind of it. Which brings me to the Awakening discussion, where Tusk Act 4. I don't know. Like you could do some crazy stuff. Okay, maybe it's unfair to compare it to the spin from JoJo because a completely different series, completely different power system, okay? But even so, an awakened Guru no Mi, where you're able to just spin everything around you, like the land that you are standing on, and the air begins to spin as well, so like little localized like tornadoes and stuff get thrown up around you. Maybe if you have awakened it, you can like see a swimming pool or a pond or something, and you could just do this, and then the pond, like a whirlpool, springs up in the center and sucks people down. Maybe you could do something like that. I need to do a video on how various devil fruits interact with water, because there was a couple of debates on, like, let's say, for example, Parosparrow's candy fruit is lick fruit. We're going to get to that one pretty soon. So obviously he can't, swim in the water because he's a devil fruit user, but he was able to make the candy sea slugs that were a devil fruit construct that could, float on the water. I mean, they were able to, like, float on top of the water like oil kind of thing, but, like, still, they were able to be on the water without being affected by it. So that might be a discussion for another day. But yeah, he's able to spin the air and the water and the earth and everything around you. Maybe if he comes in contact with you, actually manages to touch you with his ability if it's awakened, your whole body starts spinning around, kind of similar to when Blueno used the, like, revolving door ability. Like, if he touched you, your entire body turns into a revolving door and you get all dizzy and you can't really, compose yourself, and that leaves him the opportunity to attack you, something of that nature. But yeah, the ultimate power of the spin seems pretty damn advantageous, all right? And, I honestly, if we're gonna go even further with this, having a Seraphim get this ability, because, like, the same deal. Like, when all of the Doflamingo's family got sent to Impel Down, Vegapunk had a now stockpile of Paramecia abilities, right? He took Senor Pink's Swim fruit and gave it to S Shark, Jinbei's Seraphim, but dude, he would also have access to the Sticky fruit, the Ishi no Mi, which was not the Itchy, the Ishi, the stone fruit that Pika had. That would be insanely powerful to give to a Seraphim, Diamante's flag fruit, Gladys's pop fruit, Giola's art fruit, as well as the spin fruit. Baby 5 was not in Impel Down. She went and got married in Kano. They just kind of let her go. It was fine. She let her have her happy ending. She kind of deserves it, right? But yeah, there was a slew of new fruits that were available to Vegapunk. He wouldn't have just taken samples from Senor Pink. He wouldn't have just been like, oh, you have the swim fruit. Well, Quasar, I'm working on a new Seraphim, and this is going to be perfect. No, he would have taken blood samples from every single member of the Doflamingo family that was in Impel Down, and he would have synthesized green blood for that. Maybe he didn't get the opportunity to put that green blood in every single Seraphim, because there's a limited number of those. There's only Doflamingo Seraphim, and Crocodiles, and Morias, and that's it, I think. S-Hawk got the Dice fruit, and then Kuma's and Boa's Seraphim both had their respective devil fruits, the Paw fruit and the Love fruit, okay? And then S-Shark had the Swim fruit, right? So Moria's, it would make sense they would probably have a copy of the Kage no Mi to give Moria's Seraphim, and Crocodile's, you couldn't synthesize Logia's, so what would they have given Crocodile? At the devil fruits that Vegapunk had at his disposal, you know, honestly, like, if you only had the ones that were available at Impel Down, so, like, let's look at, like, the Doflamingo family specifically here. Which one would you give to Crocodile? I'm thinking either the Ishi no Mi that Pika had, because it still manipulates Earth in some way, and he manipulated sand beforehand. That would probably be a good one. Also, that devil fruit, the Stone Assimilation fruit, is kind of like a pseudo, like, Logia in, like, the kind of things you could do with it. But giving S-Crocodile the Spin fruit, that would also not be bad if you could use it to spin other things other than yourself. You spin up the ground around you to create sand? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But you know what? Going back to him being imprisoned in Impel Down, eventually there's going to be another breakout, right? Like, that's going to happen. Like, we need to get Bon Clay out of there. I think Doflamingo needs to get out of there at some point, too. If they all break out of Impel Down, they're still stuck in Paradise side of the Grand Line. They'd have to get over the Red Line to go and really join the party in the New World. Well, if you still had Pika's Stone Assimilation fruit to assimilate with the Red Line, that could cause some crazy shenanigans. Doflamingo could probably climb the Red Line or use the Island Clouds to get over it. But then you also have Buffalo, who could straight up fly as well for the other members. So him being in Impel Down, and if there is a big breakout, might be useful, because, like, the other members of the Doflamingo family can get on top of Buffalo to fly over to, like, get to the New World. Basically just using him as transport here, but, you know, probably will show up again, I'm guessing, whenever we get that second breakout, or I guess third or fourth breakout of Impel Down. I mean, we had one with Shiki, one with Morley, and then Luffy's. And so, yeah, this will be the fourth. This will be the fourth breakout of Impel Down, led by Doflamingo, probably. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I know it's not a particularly long one. This might be one of the more shorter ones of these I've ever done. Maybe if I ever watched more JoJo Part 7, I'd have more crazy things you could do with spinning. But yeah, already talked about Sharinguru's fruit, which was very, very similar to this. So this is what we got with Buffalo. This is what you get, Buffalo, all right? Who's next? We have Machweiss's Ton fruit. That'll probably be another one that's not a particularly long video. It's basically just the upgraded version of Miss Valentine's Kilo no Mi, except he's a lot heavier when he uses it. So that's all. You can see around Dressrosa, maybe Oda was like, hey, let's do some of the Baroque work fruits, but just slightly different. You kind of get that vibe a little bit. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. Remember to keep on spinning. Yeah, all right, later, everybody. Teching, signing out.